Darlene DeBellis Coach D is here on Wings of Change. I love you dearly. And we did this about 2 years ago. We wrote up an article about you starting out your new path and your new purpose as a life coach and opening a beautiful community and group on Facebook called Beauty for Ashes. And so 2 years later, we decided to keep everybody updated on how things are going. So, Darlene, how are things going?
Everything's going great.
And I wanted
Honestly,
to just remind everybody we had your beautiful son, Mark, on the podcast last year talking about real estate. And
right.
I just want to remind everybody to watch those videos. You can find them on the YouTube channel. But moving forward, we're going to start this interview out with talking about what has changed for you personally in the past 2 years since our last interview.
I think that what's changed for me the most is that I'm on the other side. So I'm not living so much in the past anymore, and I'm on the other side. So I'm healing, I'm moving forward, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm not looking back so much anymore, like we've talked about, kind of just to see how far I've come. And it was a lot. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And healing takes time. And it really was a whole lot of self-work and self-reflection. And yeah, sometimes taking a few steps forward and stumbling back a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I did learn, and for anyone that's going through it, I mean, healing just takes an awful lot of time.
Yes,
It
it
really
does.
does.
Yes, it
So
does. So
I'm on the
how's,
other side.
yeah. So how, now we had talked about you have two certifications for life coaching. And so right now you're currently taking the third certification for life coaching. How are you liking that one?
I'm just
It's a lot.
starting it. So you recommended
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I always take I always love to ask you what you're taking and what you've liked and enjoyed. And we both like Kane as an instructor. I think he's
Yes.
an awesome instructor. So I'm just starting it. And I think I'm
Awesome.
really going to like the psychology, like that part of it, like getting into the psychology of it and stuff like that. I've always been interested in that.
Oh,
So
you're gonna love it. I'm just telling,
yeah.
and it's a lot. There's like
And I like that.
180 chapters, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
But I
too.
like
I
it.
do too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love learning, what makes everybody tick and what makes especially with myself,
Right. Yes,
because
because
we
we're
talked
our first
about that.
clients. Yep,
That's
we
right.
are. We're our first clients. And I
And I
think
think
that's why I loved it too, was
I
it
was
did put pieces together. Sorry.
I think the same thing is that it helped, but I think taking the classes helped both of us understand more about ourselves, and then we can
Yep.
go ahead and help everyone else that we come in contact with. It makes our relationships better with ourselves
Yep.
and then with everyone else that we come in contact with,
So
right?
true. Oh,
I think so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So now tell us about Bales. How's she doing? Bailey is your
Oh,
faithful Labrador.
she's my
How's
emotional
she doing?
support girl. She's 11 and a half. We've had some struggles over the summer, and but she's hanging in there. I mean, she has the
Mhm.
best life. she
She
has
does.
She really does, and
She,
she's a working girl, even when she doesn't know she's working. And sometimes I say that I don't know who's helping who. Sometimes I think I'm her
I
emotional
get
support,
that. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
but I don't know where I'd be without her. And I think
Right.
that finding peace. I think I found it for both of us, and I think that living in peace has extended her life as well. So I think that that's an awesome thing.
I
I
like
tell
that. Living in
everybody,
peace.
with peace comes a price, right?
Yep.
And I paid every penny of it, like you
Yep.
did. It was a
Yep.
hefty price to pay, but there's nothing like peace. It's
So worth it.
absolutely.
So worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. Very fulfilling.
It
Very
is.
fulfilling.
It is.
So we're going to talk about your online community. And I'm excited about talking about Beauty for Ashes because this online community is more of like a support style group.
Hmm.
And people are post things and um you know you talk a lot about personal experiences. I think everybody on there does. And I think people like us, we take social media and we use these platforms the proper way, if I can say that. I don't want anybody to upset me. And not that personal usage of social media is anything wrong with it, but what I mean is we put things out there to give back to people, to give people a chance to stop and notice something and say, "Wow, I feel like that today."
Isn't
Let
it the
me.
truth?
It is, and so we're out there to let people know they're not alone. They can go through a million
1000%.
profiles,
Yep.
right, of individuals,
Right.
but seeing groups and seeing life coaches and people in counseling or mental health industry out there putting out content, sharing posts and reaching people. And I can't tell you how many times something that I've posted, somebody said, "I saw this and I've never seen you on my Facebook before, and this is exactly what's going on in my life right now, or this is exactly what I needed to hear, and there you were."
Hmm.
And that is such a spiritual thing to me,
Hmm.
and it's such an honor and a privilege to do that. Now, your community is a close group like mine. Mine's very small. Yours has doubled in numbers
It
in so
has.
many years. So you started out with a nice bunch. You had about 200 or so, and now you're over 400.
And I started
And
it because I was going through divorce after 37 years and
correct,
I was struggling alone. I was struggling alone. And I started it really to even help myself. Like I wanted to build a community. I didn't want all that on my regular Facebook. I wanted something private. And I put a few things out there on the regular social media so people understood what the group was about and what I was going through. And so that's how it all started. And other people have invited other people, and we're all in that group. There's 370 people, I think, today. And everyone has something. Everyone has a story in there. So we're all struggling. And my one of my favorite sayings is that we all struggle in different ways on different days, but we struggle just the same. So
right.
we come together as a community, and there are people in there that have lost children. There are people in there that are addicted. I mean, we have all. I have. It's just a like a
It's very
mix match.
diverse.
It
You
really,
have the
really
diversity, but
is.
it's inclusive.
But
And
it's inclusive. And do
yeah,
you know, like we really do all connect. Pain connects us, even though it's different. If it's we're receiving it in different ways, even though we're going through it in different ways, we're all connected.
correct. Because grief and loss and pain, you go through that
Absolutely.
process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the same
So
process.
yeah, so like, and there's a lot about narcissism and all kinds of abuse. And I do have a lot of people in there that will just message me privately and just say, oh my gosh, like they're still not, look, when you've been in an abusive relationship,
Yeah,
it takes a long time to trust. They don't want to post anything, even though I say the group is private. They're afraid it might get back to the person that's abusing, like that. So
sure.
there's a lot of private messaging going on, like, oh my gosh, like I'm going through that, or oh my gosh, like, can you help me with this? And what you just said was like exactly my life story. Or so we do a lot of supporting, even just behind the scenes, which as well.
I do.
I
I
don't
do.
turn anyone. I've taken phone calls and messages, and I don't turn anyone away because I don't want anyone to ever feel like I felt when I was struggling through that. I felt alone. And I just don't want anyone to ever, ever, ever feel that way. I really don't.
I can totally relate and resonate with that
I know you can.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
what connects us. I think
Yes.
that we get
Yes.
connected. Right.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. No doubt.
Mhm.
So I know that in this community that, that you have, and in the very small community that I have, is rarely any issues. But recently we had a situation that needed to be handled before anything started. So I can't express enough um, about the issues that go on in these support groups. I've seen it, I've heard about it, I know all about these people. And it's almost like sometimes these narcissistic groups, these pages that are there for good. They're there to share with people about what, abuse is like, or, narcissistic behaviors, or, things like this, pain, grief. And people go into these rooms and they actually, um, what's the word? Not really hunt, but they infiltrate.
Now,
And
that particular
yeah,
incident, I know what
yeah,
you're speaking of. That that person was not in my group at all. That
right.
was just a regular, yeah, social media person. Yeah.
Yes. And that is, yeah, and I've
Because
heard stories that these people, not
that
necessarily that
they
person,
do.
but they do. They
Yes,
infiltrate these groups and they have to be removed.
they have to
And
be.
the moment I hear of something like that,
Oh, I know
that's
you
it.
do. Me too.
Because the people in my group, like yours, you keep them safe.
Absolutely.
And we had a mutual instance
Yes, we did.
with someone like that. So, and I think cyberbullying and things like that has been an issue for a long time. But
It's
this
really sad. It's
particular
really
one was,
at this age or stage of the game. I mean, it's almost like I don't even want to say high school. I think it's like even middle high school. Like it's like I didn't
yeah,
tolerate it then. So I was the person that my lunch table, I had everybody come. Whoever didn't have a place to sit, they sat with me.
right.
So I
Yes,
didn't tolerate it then, and
good,
I'm sure not going to tolerate it now at
correct,
all.
correct.
And
Especially not in your home.
no,
Especially not in
not
your
at
home.
all. And
Hmm.
people really can portray to be a whole different person than what they really are. And
Very
you have to
scary.
just, it's so scary. And yeah. And I call it mean girl syndrome. Or, I don't know, just it was really a sad situation because I almost felt like I was struggling, and I was almost saw out. I felt like I was almost like
Targeted.
targeted
Yep, they do that.
because I was struggling. And then, yeah, well, a narcissist through and through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Target. And
Hmm.
they will pretend like they're this grandiose, wonderful human being, and say how delightful they are and make all these wonderful posts, and
Send
but they're
gifts.
in gifts, invite you
Yeah.
out, do things, to take the
Yeah.
pictures and play the part.
Right.
And there was an instance that you had where that person actually went as far as contacting people on your friends list.
On my friends list.
Friends, family members were contacted. This person didn't know anyone in particular, but they picked some of the wrong people, and who you were quite close to. Actually, the right people, I should say. So, but there's people out there that are, you know, into infiltrating people's lives like that. And I don't understand it. And so that's something for another time, because I think we're going to have to do some research on that.
Mm-hmm.
We've done articles before, and we did about the flying monkeys
Mm-hmm.
and how they infiltrate. They'll look through your social media. They'll, contact friends and family. They, to let them know what's going on if they're not in touch. And some people don't even realize they're doing it. Sometimes these flying monkeys don't even realize they're a flying monkey.
Right.
They think that they're helping,
They're
and
being
they're not.
manipulated just as much
They're
as,
being
yeah.
manipulated just as, yep, the other
Mm-hmm.
person. So we
Right.
did an article on that. So I think that that's something that we may collaborate on.